welcome to episode 164 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mayo.
And welcome to the #1 PlayStation 5 podcast on Earth, as rated by me.
Good rating.
Yep. It's official, Jeff.
Yep.
We earned my recommendation. It was hard fought.
Yep.
I mean, Respawn Aim Fire is pretty good. That is a pretty good podcast.
Yeah, but I aimed a gun at your head, so...
You did aim a gun at my head, and that was pretty convincing on my end. So that was mostly it. That and the slime is adorable. Wait, the slime's not even there? All right, never mind.
You removed the slime.
Respawn Aim Fire is the best. I'm sorry, Jeff. Respawn Aim Fire is the best.
Yeah, but we have Shantae.
Okay, we're back, baby. We have Shantae.
I like how our hair is just can be used at the stand.
It is pretty great. Like, it was a very smart design, whoever designed this plush or whatever, because it actually like is kind of solid there, so you can just like stand there right up there. Yeah, Jeff, you have amassed quite the gigantic collection we have in front of us.
Yep.
Like I've gone back and seen some of our older podcasts from earlier this year, and it's kind of interesting to look at just blank green wall, blank table and stuff, and then look at now, and it's...
Yep, we're at the point with the stuff we gotta kind of switch everything out.
I contributed a Red 13. That's about all I've contributed.
So proud of you.
He's cute.
Yeah, just in case I didn't make it clear if you're watching the video. Besides Red 13 and the Nintendo sign, the rest of it is mine, I believe.
Yeah, I did do Nintendo sign too as well. Well, Jeff, people aren't here to hear about our collectibles.
That could be another video.
That's a video. Yeah, if you want that video, we can make that video. Jeff, next gen is here.
Yes.
We are in the next gen. How does it feel? Does it feel different? Do you feel like we've entered a new phase of your gaming journey?
There are reflections now across the world. Like, I didn't see reflections in the mirror before. With the power of ray tracing, now I see it.
Now you can see the Matrix.
Yeah. It's really tough combing my hair because I couldn't literally see my...
Yeah, there's just too many rays to trace.
Yeah.
Before we start talking about the PS5, you should check out on youtube.com/nerdsatllarge our full Astrobot, I almost said Astrobot Rescue Mission, Astro's Playroom stream. It was like 4 hours, played the whole daggum thing, and it was a damn delight.
Indeed.
We will definitely talk about how much of a delight it was very soon, but go watch that whole thing. It was a lot of fun. And we have a Game Awards betting special coming up very soon.
Yep, I got pretty much done, so we might release it. I don't know. It could be as early next week. Who knows? Just got to wait on those nominees to solidify a couple questions, bets, whatever. But yeah, about ready to go.
Absolutely.
And also, we're talking about next gen, but if you listen to this and you want to hear me specifically talk more next gen talk, I'm going to be guesting on Respawn Aim Fire, I guess PS5 review discussion or whatever, with a bunch of our friends that you might have seen on the channel: Chad, Holden, Dallas, Matt, Brent. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that was all you. Yeah.
All a bunch of really cool people that we love.
I concur, and I am excited to just be a listener of Jeff content. I'm excited to listen, just yell at him in my car when he says something wrong, and it's gonna be nice.
Or I say something different between today and tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd be like, "You coward, you flip flopper! I knew it! I knew you only said you lied to me into my face. I know it." Or y'all are just gonna talk shit about me, and I'll get real sad.
It's true.
Yeah, PS5, Jeff. You have a PS5. I do not. I have played a little bit on your PS5, but you have done the bulk of the PS5.
I have done the bulk. I was doing that.
So just we will get into the actual game experiences, which Jeff has a lot of experience now. But let's just talk about the console itself and you getting the console, unpacking it. What do you think about its size, shape, UI experience, all that good stuff?
Too damn big.
It is too damn big. I concur.
Like, it's just a big hulking machine thing. I'll probably get used to it, but the stand to make it stand up vertical is just kind of needlessly irritating. Putting the stand on to make it horizontal is easy enough now. Now that I saw how to do it. That's fine. Whatever. Moving around
horizontal, it really just like sits on it, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, you just kind of pop it into place.
Yeah.
That's simple enough. But making it vertical, if you're switching, like depending on where we're moving it, we might be switching between the two.
Yeah, probably.
So that would be pain to get to screw and unscrew shit. It's like,
yeah, and that's what I mean. It's kind of seeing the thing only like reaffirmed everything I was thinking when I looked at the design on trailers and stuff. That like. Yeah, I think this is going to be a huge pain in the ass to like carry places, which is something that I guess a lot of other people don't do, but I did all the time. I carry my PS4 to different people's houses all the time. And I could just throw it in a laptop bag, like an old laptop bag I had, and I could just throw it in there, or like a suitcase type, like a little suit, like not like a big thing, just a little thing that I can throw across my shoulder, and I had my PS4 and it was fine. That is not possible, not even remotely possible with this thing. I don't know what I'm gonna have to get, like a big suitcase or something to put this thing in.
Well, and another thing that sucks because of the size of it is we haven't actually put it in yet, but we just kind of spot checked to kind of put it against it. It looks like it might fit. It barely fit into our entertainment center.
Close. But
tight. Then this whole thing of it doesn't, like, it could overheat in there or something. Doesn't have much room in there, even if we fit it in there, which is a problem. And there's another reason why putting it in there is not going to be good that I'll get to.
Okay.
Yeah. Too damn big.
Yeah, and it just seems unnecessary. I mean, like, maybe it being as big as it was necessary because of some internal
part of
thing.
it is the design things with the Seto Kaiba code.
Right. That's the thing is, like, I'm way more happy with the Xbox design because it's still just a box. It is just a rectangular box that you can just set vertical or horizontal, and you just set it there and it's fine. You don't need a stand or any of this stuff. And like, none of that serves any actual purpose. It's all just aesthetic. It's all just to be flashy and look cool. But again, like I said, I do think the PS5 looks cool. It looks cooler than the Xbox. I don't give a shit about that. Like, all that matters is for your marketing material. Literally, like, the day of having the machine, I'll be like, oh, that looks really cool. But now I'm annoyed because I can't do anything with it. And it's like, again, me and Jeff were talking about this off screen. If you have, like, PC towers get all kind of crazy and everything, I think that's fine because you're not lugging your PC tower all the way all around. Like, there's no reasonable expectation that that's what you're doing with your PC. With a console, I think the whole point, at least for me, of a console versus a PC or whatever is it's easy to set up, it's portable, you can take it different places or whatever, and it's like, it's not that much of a hassle. With this is basically just like kind of a smaller PC tower, and it's just as inconvenient as a PC tower would be around. So at this point, it's like, yeah, there's really no point in having this versus a PC other than the games that hold hostage, which sucks. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it seems like you're the same way. I'm not really happy with the actual layout of this console.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a deal breaker, but it's just very pointless.
And some other going away from the visual part of it, going from a functionality thing of, we'll get into the actual UI and shit later, but as far as all the different ports and stuff on there, it can be kind of confusing what's what. There's a USB port on the front that's one of them, and like two on the back. And normally, like, we played, like Darcy said, we played Astro's Playroom when we first opened it up and played for, the 4-ish hours. So controller is close to, decently low on battery, not completely dead, whatever. So plug it in, put the PS5 in rest mode, plug up in the front USB. Like, okay, it'll be fully charged tomorrow when I wake up and play. Nope, it did not charge at all. I was like, what the fuck? Then, I plugged it up my laptop like I do so I can charge and play like on the couch or whatever when I'm doing there. It's like, oh, it kept it from dying, but it didn't up the charge at all. After a while, I was like, okay, let me unplug it. I don't need to do this anymore. Oh, wait, no, yes, I do. It hasn't gone up at all. And I looked it up on the internet, and apparently, not the only way. the laptop's a whole different thing. But at least as far as charging on the PS5, like people normally do, or on the console, like people normally do, plugging up there, the front USB port apparently doesn't get a lot of power. You need to plug it into the back, which goes into the whole thing of putting it into our entertainment system is very inconvenient as far as that goes.
You just would not. You'd have to like go get a separate charging block or something and just charge your controller somewhere else, because that would be such a pain in the ass.
I mean, potentially, I'll look at the thing there, or a charger thing. That could be a good thing to have for both of us when we both get a PS5.
Wait, what?
They have the charging dock type thing.
I mean, you can literally just use your cell phone block. I mean, it's just a USB, right? I imagine the charger is just a USB cord, so you don't need to buy a specific thing for that. I mean, you're welcome to if you want to, but that, you can just use like a cell phone block or something. But even that, like, it's kind of annoying that it's like, because also, I know Chad from Respawning Fire had a thread on Twitter where he was talking about like, yeah, if you're trying to play PSVR on the PS5, and you try to use that front USB, apparently that USB does not get enough power to power the PSVR at all, and it won't tell you what's wrong. So like he was like frustrated with it, and eventually figured out you have to use the back too, which kind of gets me to the point where it's like, what the hell is the point of the front USB at that point?
Well, okay, yeah, like I guess I could use the charging thing for that, but then for the VR, I probably have to have it out to make that simpler. Yeah, there's a bunch of cords everywhere. Who knows? I mean, we'll see. But
that seems like this is again. I think the PS5 is just like is very powerful, and they're like kind of going more powerful than what's even on the market right now. And I think that kind of a side effect of that is I think there's going to be some weird things like that, like this machine's drawing too much power that it doesn't have enough for like this USB or for this and that. And I do honestly think you might. I don't want to be too doom and gloom about it, but I think there's a chance that this generation is like another Xbox 360 or PS3, where just like everyone had a console problem. Like, I don't know a single person who had a 360 who didn't die on them at some point. You're literally the only one I know. I guess you didn't play your 360 a ton, but you were literally the only one I know. But you know that everyone else, you're not oblivious to the red ring problem. I think we could be in for another generation like that, just because there's so much going on under the hood of these consoles. But they're not really built to cool and stuff like a PC. Like, I don't know. I just could see problems.
Let's talk about the actual system once you turn that baby on.
Yes.
Very clean once you get to that UI. Everything's all together. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the things, because, it's a lot like the PS4 as far as where things and what things do and all that. But still trying to get figure out where everything is. But something that's very nice is how easy it is to get that PlayStation Store. It's still the PlayStation Store tab on the far left, the home thing, but you literally go there, the store loads the bottom, you just go down, you're there. Instead of you clicking it and it loading who knows how long, if it even gets there.
And a lot of times you have to back out and go back in, back out and go back in to just get it to load.
Yeah, and it sounds like it wasn't just an us problem with it, just our internet or anything.
Jesus Christ,
so that is very nice. Everything is clean and quick and everything. And one thing, as far as like load times and shit, like that is much faster. And it's like very, of course, they show this in videos and stuff, but it's another, one thing to see it in there, one thing to actually see it in front of you on your TV console is they have those, the cards, when you click on a game, you just have these cards in different areas or tasks you can do. When I went up to the morning after we played Astro, when I went back on there, I went on there to platinum it. I ended up doing one of the cards, like, sure, why the hell not? And it sent me to the beach area, I think it was, or whatever. Anyway, I clicked on that like 2 seconds and I was in that area. Like, I didn't have to go through the game's loading, like the screen to get to load into the game or whatever.
Yeah.
It just was there, just like that.
And the same thing I know when I saw you play Miles whenever you would fast travel, it was just
you
click it and you're immediately walking up the subway. It's like no loading screen
No,
whatsoever.
it's like in the original Spider-Man, they had a screen where Peter's like in the subway messing with his phone. It's like they didn't have time for that shit because you're there instantly.
They want to flex a little bit too.
Yeah. I don't know how it is on PS4, the comparisons for that, because Miles is cross-gen.
Yep.
They might
I've not looked at that.
They might have a scene for Miles on the subway and that.
Maybe. See, you're missing out on content.
Oh, fuck. The one thing is, I think Enron Khan posted it, which is like, okay, that's kind of true. Like, how much less I looked at my phone while playing like Miles Morales in that section. Like, my phone was very fully charged because... You know, a lot of times you look at phones during your load screen. I had no time to do that because everything loads so quickly.
That's the new thing. That's what we have to be outraged about now, right? Is that you're not giving me enough time to look at Twitter.
Should we be thanking them for that, though?
No, we should be thanking them for that. Can they go ahead and delete Twitter while it's out?
Yeah, so everything is quick and smooth, and I'm very impressed with so far. I haven't messed with a lot of the features. Like, I haven't seen how the time... Like, it's like the Switch now, where you can go under your profile and actually shows how long you play games, and I love that shit.
That's
Finally,
great. More stats. Just everything.
I think once you kind of update or sync your PS4 stuff with your PS5, it'll retroactively do your PS4 stuff too. I might be wrong. I think I heard / read that somewhere. I might be wrong on that.
That was always there in the back end. They just didn't show us.
Yeah, I haven't tried doing the whole syncing the PS4 PS5 yet.
No,
do that at some point soon.
Nice.
Yeah, because you gotta have both on, so I'm gonna have to bring one of them in here. And
okay. Yeah, I honestly didn't know how that worked.
Or I guess I could just switch back and forth on that TV since they're plugged in. I'll probably do that. That sounds easier than moving stuff.
That's probably easier. Yeah, I didn't know you had to do them both. I thought it just took it from the cloud or something.
That's what I thought. But when you know, it showed up when we were doing the stream or whatever, or before the stream, it mentioned that.
Okay. They just had to be on the same Wi-Fi or something?
I think so, yeah. Or something. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see how that goes. Yeah, I generally, from what I've experienced with it, just playing around with it a little bit, I agree. I like the UI. I like how fast everything is. I had a little bit whenever I was downloading Mortal Kombat onto it. I had a little bit of like some areas of the home page when I was flipping around on it would freeze in a way like the PS4 did, where I would go to a tab and there would just be nothing there, and I had to like go out and go back in. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but it definitely was nowhere near as bad as the PS4. And you know, I don't know, it might just be opening hitches, though I'm sure there'll be updates and everything else. I had that, and then I had Astro's Playroom freeze on me once. That I had to back all the way out. So.
I'm surprised. I mean, for me personally, I've seen other people talk about freezes and stuff where they had to get out of the game or something. I have not had that yet.
That's
like
good. When
we played in my full playthrough of Miles.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. You crazy person.
I finished that game in one sitting.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Yeah, so I think we can move on to the actual games unless you have anything more to say about the console.
I mean,
itself.
we can talk about the controller, but I think that's a good
that kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, go hand in hand with Astro's Playroom. The game that is just already on your console.
What a damn delight.
Yes.
this video game is. I didn't even play it. I played through Cooling Springs the whole level now, but I didn't even play like most of it or whatever. Mm-hmm. Even just watching you, I had such a good time. It did not feel like 4 hours even went by. It was just. But it also felt like a complete game in a lot of ways too. Like I didn't feel unfulfilled. It was just great.
Yes,
it was just all around great.
Just one of those games that it's short. Depending what you can get through it pretty quickly if you're just kind of main pathing it or whatever. But it's just in one of those short games where there's a lot there. There's a lot going on. You're doing stuff. But
it'll super reward you for smelling the roses and for looking around.
Yeah, and it's just kind of short and sweet and didn't have filler, which is nice. Yeah, there's nothing we can look there. It's like, maybe that shouldn't have been there. That shouldn't change.
Yeah, like going into this, I really did think that we'd basically be coming out of it saying this was really, really good, but it just makes me like angry because I just want the full experience. You know, it's gonna feel like just the first part of what could have been this full game, which I guess is kind of true and stuff, but I felt a lot more just fulfilled at the end of this than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Like you said, it almost felt like a full game with just like not a single solitary minute of filler. It's like everything was just
well,
like,
I mentioned it during the stream. It's kind of like it rewards kind of exploring and doing some stuff, even if for the most part it's pretty linear. I mean, just going off the track a little bit, because you're either going to find the puzzle piece collectibles or the artifacts or the almost 5+ dozen cameo things,
there's like 60 something
Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Cameos, Easter eggs, or whatever. There's so many of those, and you're always finding them. We were kind of like, I wonder how many there are, and all that, or like how frequent. It's like, oh, we had to find those freaking like about every couple minutes at the very least. We're finding them.
And it was every single time we got it, there was so many like just heartwarming, like, oh, is that? Oh, yeah. And we went into this like, me and you have a pretty big history with PlayStation. Some games together, some games just me, some games just you. And it was a great thing. We're like, okay, where is this? You know, these are the ones we're looking for. It's like, okay, they got that one. All right, now we're down to these two. It got to be these. And there was like they fulfilled like almost every one of those. And then we would run into one where it'd be like, oh, I was not expecting that. That's a really cool reference. And they were all just like so cute.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. When we got to the end of it, as far as the references go, we were kind of like, okay, they got all the big ones. But then we remembered that, like, I guess spoiler alert, Twisted Metal didn't get one.
That was the one big snub.
Yes. I mean, well, I will say this. Twisted Metal had a cameo in one of the trophies. A reference in there. I'm not saying it's the same thing, but at least they didn't completely forget about the game. But yeah, there are definitely some there. It's like, okay, so you didn't put Twisted Metal, but you put this in. I mean, I'm glad this is in, but what?
Yeah, that was the only like glaring snub as far as like popularity.
I mean,
there's some ones that I would have wanted, but that was the most
even
glaring.
like third-party ones, I'd say they hit all the ones that I would say were required.
I think so too. And it was just like you said, the clip that they came at, the creativity that was put in there or whatever, because again, this team, like we said from the trailers and everything, I feel even more strongly about it now. They are just immensely talented. And I think this was almost like, this is on par with the Astrobot Rescue Mission, I think, with just showing how good of an experience this team can make with such little resources. And such, like, they're set up to fail, and they're like, we're just gonna like knock it out of the
it's just part of that, the little resources and the fact that their games are kind of made around gimmicks, like Astrobot or whatever, and the stuff is VR.
And that's
gimmicks.
part of the Doom to fail.
Yeah.
It's like,
and with this, obviously, a big part of it is showing off what the DualSense can do, which. You know, going to that as far as the gameplay goes, which was, I think it did really good showing off all the stuff the DualSense can do with the triggers and the motion stuff and the touchpad and all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, who knows, we might have started with the height of its use for some of that stuff, unfortunately. But, you know, it's nice that we quickly got something that's like, okay, this is how this controller works. This is the cool stuff that can be used.
Yes. Yeah, and I do think this will be the height of it, because I think this is a thing that was obviously, they knew everything that the DualSense can do, and that was like the sole purpose of this game, was to show that off. So of course you're going to devote as much, you know, they're going to be the best set up to use it. But I am more impressed with the DualSense than I thought it was going to be, honestly. Like, I even when people were like singing its praises, I still was like, I think this is probably a little overhyped.
I think that's kind of fair, because I love the people we follow in the games room, but they can kind of overhype things a little bit.
And to be fair, I still do think it's a little overhyped. I don't think it's quite as like game changing crazy as people say, but it was pretty damn impressive. It was the amount of different terrains that they like. They did in a way where it's like, okay, this is actually moving a little bit past just dumb gimmick that I'm going to turn off and more into like, okay, I can see how you can actually use this. Like, you know, just like when you walk in water, you can kind of like feel the splash of the water, or like in sand and snow, you can kind of feel that. And then I think, like, for me, like one of the most impressive ones was there's like an ice skating thing.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, they really did, like, you feel like the carving of ice or something. It's hard to explain, but like it it didn't feel as static as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be like, okay, there's like sand, water, ice, grass, static stuff or whatever. But it's like they had a big variety of terrains and different feelings that they made you feel with that, and that I think was like pretty consistent throughout and everything. It's kind of it was very impressive. It makes like it honestly makes this like Nintendo's HD Rumble look cute in comparison.
Yeah,
but again, I don't know how much of this is going to be used in the future with third-party things, but I do think the potential is there.
Yeah, and at the very least, like even if third parties take advantage of it, we can probably look forward to at least some of these being used a good bit by first-party developers, which there are a lot of. Sony has a good many of them at this point, and obviously the Team Asobi, I think they're called. I think they mentioned it, or in the PlayStation blog post, that we might get more Astro information soon. Please. Which I think it's safe to say they probably already greenlit it before this game came out. Okay. But it's safe to say that after the reception to this game, Sony's gonna be like, okay, here's a bigger check.
I hope so.
Just make shit. Whether it be, I guess with that blog post insinuating, it probably will be Astro related, which is fine. I'm okay with them just, at least for one more thing, making a full non-VR if that's the way they're going, 3D platformer with this and go crazy. But yeah, I think making this, I mean, I would have gladly paid money for this, but I think generally, especially with what it is, that making a packing game was a smart move, and
it's gonna really put this team on the map in the way that we knew they should have been because of Astrobot Rescue Mission. But I totally understand that is just, you have a fraction of a fraction. You have just the people who have a PSVR, and then the people who bought that. It's like who are going to go out and buy this full price game. It's like not many people ever played that. Now suddenly, like the amount of people who have an attachment to this team and the just undeniable charm that they put into these little bastards. You just love them. And it's like now, that's on such a grander scale now, because like everyone's gonna play this game. It's right there. It's free. It's like you have it right.
Even when you're waiting to download, it's like, okay, I'll just check out what this thing's all about. Exactly. See what the controller's like. Oh, this is neat.
And I think now it goes up there with like Wii Sports and stuff is like one of the best pack-in game experiences. It's like pretty freaking stellar.
Right, and I won't spoil it, but like that final boss is
pretty dope. I mean, there's just like you said, the pacing is just absolutely perfection because it was just 4 hours. This like all killer, no filler. Let's just go.
Yep. Again, you're just going through stuff, going. You got all these levels. You keep on doing a bunch of different things and all that, and just all these cameos to kind of break things up as well. Like you're always seeing that stuff, something you get excited about.
And I think it flexes the Sony's muscles as far as, like I was saying during the thing.
Yeah.
If you want, like, and people did this online, like if you want to claim that like Sony doesn't have enough nostalgia to do like a Smash Bros type thing like they did with All Stars, play this damn game and try to tell me that. It's like, no. They had like the sheer amount of references and how many times I got goosebumps, or we were like, oh shit, like yelling about this. I've seen so many other people online too. It's like, no, like obviously Nintendo has like the history longer and the all that stuff or whatever, but Sony is pretty damn up there as far as like there are a lot of people like me who like my childhood was wrapped up in a lot of these franchises.
I mean, they've been around for 20 years at this point.
Yeah, like you like to think you think of them as being like a lot younger, which I guess they are, but like you said, they've been around long enough to where like my childhood was Sony's.
Well, here's the thing, like I think even that's crazy. Let me just do this so I get exact dates just real quick. Let's say 1980 for Nintendo. Let's see.
I do think some people like in their 30s or like approaching 40 kind of underestimate how much they think of things like Sly Cooper and Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank as being like when they were older, and they don't think of that as being like someone's childhood game in the same way as Mario 64. Like for me, that trio is the like what everyone else sees as like the old Mario games for their childhood.
I was saying it's like as far as PlayStation is relatively new. Not really at this point. I mean, what Nintendo? Everyone started 1985, maybe 1980 if you're counting like Donkey Kong and shit.
Yeah.
1995 for PlayStation. That's 25 fucking years. It's only 10 to 15 less years than Nintendo. So
Yeah.
the whole like they have been around long enough to do this kind of shit.
I do think, and I
peak.
think you're starting to see it even in content creation and YouTube and IGN and stuff. I think you're starting to see like our generations getting more up there or whatever. I've even seen that with like Blessing and Kind of Funny and stuff, where it's like I'm starting to see like those people are like there was a conversation that Kind of Funny about Ratchet and Clank, and like Greg was like, yeah, Ratchet and Clank's a fun enough game, but it's not like an iconic thing. And Blessing was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yes, it is. It's like I think there's that generational gap there that it's like, you know, some people underestimate sometimes.
So what you're saying is Greg Miller is a fake fan.
He is a fake gamer. Take his trophy away. Yeah, I love all of them.
Yeah. So man, Astro's so good.
It's so good.
I watched. I'll probably do it after we're done here. But I watched Kyle Bosman stream of half of it, and he is enjoying it. It's just also just fun, just kind of going through it again. Just seems like this is just going for the first time is one thing, but then you see, even if it's that quick, seeing it, it's like, this stuff's just good. Like, I mean, I think that become abundantly clear. The 3 launch games that I played, this is my favorite.
Yeah, no, not surprised. I'm sure I will feel the same way.
By a good bit. So, to be fair, with spoilers, Bugsnax, I'm not that far in, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think this is just a strong game in general. Just a good move by Sony putting out there, and just again the love and care for just the Sony brand in this is really well. And like that could have been cheesy and like just kind of like patting on the back. Like it could have easily been that, but just the way they did everything,
it should be cheesy. Yes. It's like this is defying this is defying like the logic,
the most charming way possible.
Yes,
that you just can't help but smile and love it.
This is on the list, Jeff. This is on the goatee list somewhere. It's like it's not even a joke. It's like it's good enough to be. It's good enough to beat some things.
Well, something I gotta go back and when we beat a level, they mentioned those speedrun challenges. Yeah, I just assumed it was going through those levels, but just fast. No, there's a brand new levels. So there's more content to experience. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll go do that. Imagine it's more like platforming focused, which I'm all for.
Interesting. Yeah, and I still have to play the dang thing. I didn't play it myself. I played like one level, but. Yeah. But that's again, even as a passive watcher, I was captivated and had a wonderful time.
Yes, good shit.
There's
more I would love to talk about, like and geek out about, but I want people to experience the cameos and stuff.
That's what. I tried to be vague when I was just they're good. The cameos are good. If you're into gaming at all, you're gonna have at least a few that you're. Yeah.
Also, I'm surprised as well. I guess this isn't really spoiler. We can talk a little more about the gameplay stuff. Like the level when you get into the ball and rolling around and you use the touchpad. That wasn't nearly as annoying, and it was more intuitive than I was thinking when I first suited up.
Yeah.
Like generally speaking, I had good control over the speed and where I was going and stuff, and it felt really good. And the same can be said with everything with like the little frog jumping man. Just the triggers with that. The rocket ship could have been easily annoying, but that felt pretty good to control. I was speeding up and being impatient for content, but
yeah, that's I think legitimately like just straight up, this team is just very good at what. Also, I would love to see them be able to do whatever they want to do without having to sell a product, I mean, because somehow they made selling a product heartfelt. It's crazy. Because that's what this is. This is like Sony, like, this is all the things the controller can do. You have to sell people on these concepts. So it's like they took that framework and it's like, okay, we're going to like straight up like Nintendo-ize this. I mean, like, I think this is Nintendo platformer caliber game design, I think. I mean, I think this goes along with
I don't think that's a hot take based on what I'm seeing on Twitter.
Yeah, I think that's straight up. I mean, I said the same thing for Astro Bot Rescue Mission. I think that's true now too.
Yep. Give the team more money.
Cool. Well, this I think was a transcendent game that was like, genre defining, breaking through. Can the same be said for Spider-Man Miles Morales? I already got your hot take ready. Get ready for the internet to hate you.
I mean, it's a good game. I liked it a lot.
I know. I'm setting you up for failure. I'm sorry. let's start with the fact that you beat this fucking game in one sitting.
Yeah.
This fucking ridiculous, just madman.
I didn't plan on it.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't plan on being here one day. I mean,
I knew, but I knew. I guess I know you better than you know yourself. I knew you were gonna be that thing in one day.
I knew I was gonna play all day. There's a difference.
I knew you were gonna. Like I said, I know you better than you know yourself.
Well, I was thinking, especially the Bugsnax, I was like, I feel like I'm getting, as far as story stuff, pretty close to the end. It's like,
how do you know what your playtime was?
Nope. I can look though.
I was about to say it was right. You should look.
I don't know where to find it yet. I was lazy.
What do you think? Wait, what? I mean, wait. This should be easy. What time did you start? What time did you end the day?
It's probably like 11, 12 hours. If I had to guess.
Okay.
Trying to think. What was I about to say? But part of the reason I didn't think I was going to finish in a day is because I figured I might have done kind of like I did with the 2018 Spider-Man and did pretty much all the side stuff I'd wanted to do before I finished the game. But it's like, I'll finish this, so make sure we're good for podcasts and all that kind of stuff partly. And also, I wasn't feeling like doing the side quest as much as I was in the PS4 game.
Finally hit my level, did you?
I mean, I'm gonna go back and do some of the missions. There are a couple of them that I feel like could go places. There are a couple, and also something that's just kind of annoying. They marketed the suit where you get Spider-Man the cat. Yeah. So yeah, as people who don't know, sorry, spoiler: the cat's name is actually Spider-Man. But unfortunately, you can't get that suit until after you beat the campaign. Bullshit. So, I'm going to go in and do that side mission and then probably pretty much use that suit for playing most of the other side missions I plan on doing.
Cat should have been integral to the plot.
It's true. Thinking on it, I know this is going to seem like a lame excuse that this is the reason. I could see, after some of the stuff going on, having just a cat there might not have made sense for some of the stuff that happened. So I can kind of see why.
Can you, with New Game Plus, now play through with a cat on your back in all these cutscenes?
You know what? Fair.
Can you?
I assume. I don't see why not. I assume that you can do that once you unlock it in the New Game Plus.
Probably will be kind of goofy though.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah. So
right, but the actual game itself, let's zoom out a little bit more in the actual thing, because I mean, this is, I think people might be listening to this wondering, because Spider-Man 2018 is a lot of people's favorite game of all time, or up there really far.
Wasn't mine.
This is a little bit of an unprecedented thing to have, it's not, at least not something we see super often, where it's the next new game in this is kind of a stopgap in between game. We assume there's going to be a Spider-Man 2, whether it's named 2 or not. This is
okay, I'm not going to say what it is, but spoiler alert, there's a mid-credit scene that hints at stuff for 2.
Not surprised.
Yeah. It's a Marvel game.
Just expect it at this point.
Yeah. So yeah, like you were saying, it's kind of a stopgap game. People compare it to Lost Legacy, obviously. But a difference from that is Lost Legacy was a side story about characters that premiered in the Uncharted games, but they were in their own thing.
It wasn't building to anything else.
Yes, again, that was a side story. Yeah. This is pretty much Spider-Man 1.5, right, where this is building a bridge between 1 and 2, where, okay, we introduced Miles as having spider powers at the end of 1 and all that kind of stuff. Now we're going to transition him to actually becoming Spider-Man, his own Spider-Man, to go into 2, so we don't have to do all that stuff while the other crazy crap we already set up is going on. Correct. Which we've been saying since this was announced was a smart move. Yeah. But I came to you and said, while that is a smart move, once I got to finish it, potentially this may not be good from a gameplay standpoint if they don't change stuff up too much, because you're doing pretty much the same thing. The combat doesn't change really much at all. You got new powers as Miles, you got the electric powers and stuff, and you have invisibility, but it just kind of gives you a little more stuff to do with the electric powers and the actual combat things and the invisibility powers and the stealth parts of it. And even combat, you can kind of turn invisible, where the fuck you go? Yeah. And that kind of stuff. But it's not a crazy addition. They're fun, but not a crazy addition. And then you have the side missions, which pretty much the same kind of side missions
Yeah.
as one. There are less of them, but you're still doing the same thing. There's not as many like chasing the car stuff, like the crime stuff. Oh, this guy's doing a drug deal,
But it's still there.
Yeah, you're beating them up, and you go into these bases and taking all these people out, and that's mainly that. There are some, like I guess like in Spider-Man, side missions that they clearly advertise as different kind of missions.
Yeah.
Like these are the side missions. These are just the normal crimes.
There's
whatever.
a tier.
Yeah, there are tiers to it. They have the side missions can have some more story stuff, like the characters are actually characters and stuff, and you see them in the actual main part of the story and all that kind of stuff. Because you know some of the people from Harlem a little better,
Yeah.
which is nice. Even if the gameplay stuff is still just the normal gameplay stuff. I swear to God, if I had to chase one more goddamn pigeon.
Yeah, that's what like I ended up watching you play like roughly 3 hours or something. I mean, I kind of left.
Time blended together that day, so I don't know how long you were.
Yeah,
there.
I kind of left and came back, but a decent amount. I felt like I watched several story beats happen and like several gameplay. Like you go to several different areas, and I will say I kind of got it. Kind of felt a lot like I felt at the end of Spider-Man 2018, where I was like super invested in the Spider-Man story then, and like really wanted to know what was going to happen and everything. But the gameplay, while it was like super fun at the beginning and it wasn't bad, but like by the end I was getting pretty tired of just beating up dudes in the same exact fashion over and over again. I was like, okay, let's cut out. Let's stop doing any side stuff. Let's just like finish this game. When I watched you play this, it was like I watched you play for a good like 3, maybe 4 hours, and I saw you do this basically the same fight in the same stealth section over and over and over and over and over again with slightly different skins. Is what it felt like.
I'm gonna throw this out there just to be fair to as far as that. Dari talked about it when me and Dari talked about it off camera. I said this then. I purposely, for a lot of that, not because you were there, but that's just what I was doing and how I kind of play like these kind of games, just doing side quests, which obviously I'll be thinking.
Yes,
but your point generally.
Yeah, I still saw you do like at least 3 story beats.
Yeah,
I think like, at least like 3 distinct story missions or whatever, and like the cutscenes were all awesome, and I was invested in the story. But like still, every single time it went to the actual gameplay, it just like it looked no better than 2018 to me, and it looked like kind of uninspired as far as just like I don't know. I just like you said, the invisibility thing. It was like that was cool at first, but then it just seemed like it was just every stealth thing was just like go invisible, mess with something, distract someone. It was I'll be honest, I was not like I have to get my hands on this like gameplay.
I think you mentioned you probably would have been just as happy just to watch me play. Though.
I was like, I'm actually really enjoying watching you. It's like I wouldn't really mind just experiencing the story this way.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll say like to get away from the kind of negative stuff. Like story's really good. I enjoyed it. I love Miles as a character. I like the character. Like we saw his mom in the first game. You get a lot more of her now, and she's great. Named Ginky or whatever, his best friend. You see a lot of him. The villains are cool. They do some interesting twists and turns with that, which are fun and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I got a little teary eye at the end, so always want that.
Yeah.
And not surprising, Peter is barely in it. Just he kind of pops in on your cell phone every once in a while. They just like he's on vacation.
Yeah. Which this should be Miles' story.
Yeah, it's really a good way to do it. And I will bring this up now, just to get it out of the way. I can't deal with Peter's new face. I'm sorry, I can't do it. He comes in a couple times like this just feels so weird. And again, it's not completely the fact it's a different face. He just looks so damn young to the point where they're seeing him like he looks younger than Miles.
We'll have to check back in and like after we played Spider-Man 2 to see like. Is this something we're going to get over, or is Jeff still going to be like, I just can't? I just can't.
I hope I get to the point where
like,
it's
I
just
do think he looks too young, but the way the face looks doesn't like bother me as much as it seems like it bothers you and a lot of other people online. Like I think if this was always the face, I don't think I ever would have commented on it. For me, it's just the fact that it's so different.
Yeah.
Like, in a vacuum, this face looks fine, but like we did an entire, very narrative focused, very face acting focused version of the first game with one face, and now you have the same voice but a completely different face. That's what like really weirds me out. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know. That's so we'll see in Spider-Man 2. I guess you probably didn't even see his face enough to have time to get used to it.
Yeah. He's just when he does show, I'm like, this looks so weird.
Wait, who is this again? There's a third guy with Spider-Man powers?
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess just briefly while we're on story, do you think this was a worthwhile? Like, are you glad from a story perspective that you had this game before the next one?
Yeah. I was kind of say generally, I don't see too much that happened from this story maybe going into the next one. I guess there might be a plot thread or two that could go into, but I think overall, again, this is just. I think this, even if this is a standalone story with not really too much besides Miles getting experience carrying over, and I guess introducing his friends and stuff, and they can carry over, which is fine. I think it's a worthwhile story because it is telling kind of Miles come to own, which I think is a worthwhile story to tell in this universe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I definitely kind of see what you were talking about at the beginning, where it's like this could end up being kind of a detriment to just like people getting burnt out on this type of game. Because we were talking about what if they just keep doing this, keep kind of like releasing like smaller things in between to like fill in gaps and everything. And I mean, I think my take on it is I think that this genre in general is just way too overcrowded and like just overdone to the point where I think if you go this Miles Morales route again in the future and everything, I think you're gonna start seeing super diminishing returns as far as like just people getting burnt out on it, because we just already play too many of these. And if you just like take this formula where it's like, okay, we're gonna like literally just use the groundwork, we're not really gonna do much, it's basically gonna be like a DLC, but we're gonna turn it into an 8-hour thing. Yeah, people are. I think that's going to get very tiring. Yeah. After
the thing is, just like I know this is easier said than done, but just come up with more interesting side quests than like the burnout, or just not have as many of them.
Or just make I kind of wish that this was just a straight path story DLC or something rather than
But we can't have that in games nowadays. Also, again, a part of it is it's like we'll have to see what they do with Spider-Man 2. I mean, it makes more sense because this is supposed to be a 1.5 and this thing came out in 2 years and stuff. But it is the same map with the same landmarks and stuff.
The other
like
thing
you
too.
Even, actually, I was about to say something, but never.
I mean, when I was watching you play, it looks like you're playing Spider-Man 2018.
Yeah.
It'll obviously the 60 frames looks very, very nice on the PS5. The loading times are awesome and everything like that. But like you swinging around the city and the things you're doing in the city, I could have believed you were just playing 2018. You know?
Yeah.
Just from watching a clip of gameplay, which, like, my problem is that I don't have a lot of faith that Spider-Man 2 is not going to be pretty similar to this. Honestly, it's because it's not just Sony, it's Assassin's Creed, it's every Ubisoft game on Earth, it's like Borderlands to a point. It's like there's just. This genre is just kind of done to death, in my opinion, and I think that's why, like, it's a genre that, like, this open world action game type genre is something that I've loved my whole time gaming or whatever. But I've just really got it's just the oversaturation is just I'm really feeling it, and it's a weird feeling where like I look at Miles Morales and I'm like, this is a good game, like this is a good game, just like 2018 was a very good game, but at some point. You could have too much of a good thing, at least in my opinion. At some point, you just get to the point where it's like, yeah, that's good, but I've just done this too many times. I just don't feel a drive to go play this. Yeah, I get other people really liking it, but when I see it, it's like I'm not just like, give me the controller right fucking now. Where I am with like something like Cyberpunk that's offering this like crazy, like you can pull a sword in any direction. You know.
Well, or to do more maybe similar comparison or whatever, You're excited as hell for Ratchet and Clank Insomniac's other games that we got announced. I mean, I'm there with you, obviously.
Because we don't get those. That I see more like, I don't know. It's just, I look at that and it's like, it's just something that I don't get to do that often. It's something like when I think back on games that I've played over the last few years or whatever, something like Ratchet and Clank does stand out in my mind, because it's like when you look at, if you put all the games in a group, that one stands out just visually, what you're doing, like the 3D platformer angle, all this other stuff. That stands out a lot. And if you look back, like there's a lot of Horizons and even Witchers that I love, but it's like there's a lot of those games over and over again. And
I'm very curious. Just I guess I haven't read too many like general impressions from Miles, but I'm curious if people kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some, but like again, I think I guess my brain is slightly broken. I mean, like,
yeah, I mean, even like. I loved the Spider-Man 2018 more than you did, and obviously, but even I
like it a lot.
Yeah. Even I was a good chunk below like people, what these guys early, where there was like their game of the year, game of the generation, game of the forever and stuff. Like I'm nowhere near that.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And I just think like stuff like Assassin's Creed, I think there's just some people and like a lot of people in the gaming industry that it's their job, so they have to play a lot more games than us. So they play pretty much all of these games, and they're not burnt out on it. So that makes me think that I guess just there are people that is like their game, and they're just never going to burn out on the Assassin's Creeds and these like kind of more checklisty open worlds. Like they're just never ever going to burn out on that, which is great. I'm glad you found your thing. I'm glad that's your thing that you're just never going to tire of. But I've reached my limit on like non-innovative open worlds.
So, I mentioned this to you, and it's just kind of crazy that I kind of mentioned to you like I just wasn't feeling the whole checklisty open world stuff to the point where I mentioned to you like I don't know like if I feel like eating Watch Dogs anymore, or at least any time.
I hope I'm not infecting you.
No,
I'm not bringing you down.
You're not. I'd feel this way anyway. But I will say, Astro got like I was thinking of getting Watch Dogs, but Spider-Man's making me think that, while Astro's making me want to get Sackboy even more.
Yeah.
I mean, and also just the reviews and press for that have been excellent. Just like it looks like it's right up my alley.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
maybe we can play that together, Darby. It's
that could be, isn't it? Yeah, it's co-op, right? Yeah, I'm down. I'm totally down.
Fuck yeah, I'll probably get that by the end.
Maybe we can stream that. I
Let's
wonder how
do
long
it.
it is. I don't know.
I have no idea.
We'll do some research and get back to you.
But Darby, the final game I played.
The Mac Daddy of them all.
Darby, we memed it, we sang it, but we're finally doing it. We're talking about Bugsnax.
We're actually going to talk about Bugsnax.
I have Bugsnax. I mean, most people do. I mean, even you.
No,
might.
you're the only one. They sent you the only copy.
But yeah,
PlayStation Plus Benito
game.
like gave it to you. She came to our house.
But it's on PlayStation Plus if you haven't gotten it already, and even if you don't have a PS5. You can just go on the internet on your computer or something, and
you should go ahead and do that. So if you get your PS5 a year from now, you can have free Bugsnax.
Yes. So I got that. Download it. Once I got it with Miles, like okay, I'll play some Bugsnax now.
Let's see, 48 hours. If you didn't work, you probably would have beat all 3 of those games in 48 hours.
Yes. But yeah. So I played the first couple hours, but probably about 3-ish hours, I would assume. I think this game's a delight.
Nice.
I'm liking it a little more than I thought so far. Because when we were leading up to the launch and people were talking about Bugsnax, I was kind of like, I wasn't exactly seeing a great amount of hype there, and I still kind of feel that way based on what we saw, because we didn't see too much. People just kind of liked the song and kind of going off that to a point.
We were pretty close to launch, and we still didn't know what the game was. Like what kind of game
we didn't know everything and all that. But after playing it and seeing exactly what it is and how much story and characters are actually a big part of this game compared to what it kind of looked like at the beginning, it's getting me a lot more into it, and so far catching the Bugsnax is fun.
The environmental puzzles seem very creative.
Yes,
and not super straightforward, in a good way.
Yeah, in the beginning they kind of get because when you're getting stuff you do this and that and stuff, and they give you a little camera thing that you can scan the Bugsnax, and they give you a little description and kind of give you a little hint about how to catch it. Some of them you scan it and it's like, okay, I don't believe I have a way of catching this thing at this point.
Yeah.
I'll come back because there are, I don't mean this in a bad way, at least not so far. There is some backtracking, like when you get like a side mission or someone like, I want you to catch this Bugsnax, and it's like a previous area, which is kind of cool because fine, because I've gone back to like the first area. Like I think you watched me when I did that. There was only like, I don't know, 2 different Bugsnax there. Yeah. I went back and there's like a dozen of different kinds of them, and some of them only are out during the night, for example. So there's kind of that kind of thing going on. Nice. Just kind of watch and learn. Yeah, and like you're saying, when the crazy openness for the puzzles, like I don't know how many different ways there are to do all these things to capture these. From the sounds of it, at least for a couple of them, there are a couple different ways to do it, depending on how vague how you can capture them is. I think there are a couple, at least in the beginning when I was kind of doing general story stuff before it kind of opened up a little bit. It's like, okay, there's probably only one way for me to do things right now. Like there's this little hamburger thing going around. Bunker. That I had to figure out, okay, how do I catch this thing? Because the trap I have doesn't work on it. It's like, how do I like they say kind of like stun it so you can capture it in your net. Like, how do I do that? Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, they're 2 bunker. So I just lured them to each other with the ketchup, and then they just ran into each other, and they were stunned, and I caught them both.
Yes. Yeah, and there was like just a little bit I watched you, the thought process that you had to go through. It was like just out of reach, but once you figured it out, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that is rewarding when you figure it out, and honestly, it makes capturing them later just kind of easy because, okay, you figure it out, so it's not a pain in the butt after you figure it out for the first time. For the most part, it's not a pain in the ass to capture them again. Yeah. Which you might want to do because once you, I'm blanking on all these names. There's one guy
Philbo the mayor.
No, not him. This one guy who you recruit for your little village, and that's one of the main goals. You have to find the reporter or the adventurer lady we've seen in trailers and stuff, and also recruit people to come back to the village, while also interviewing them to figure out what's going on Snack Tooth Island or whatever it's called. Man, why am I having so trouble remembering these names?
It is Snack Tooth Island.
Yeah. He hasn't even played, and he's remembering this shit better than me. But this one guy, he doesn't eat Bugsnax. He thinks of them as his children/pets. He finds it appalling that people want to eat these. So he just wants you to give him Bugsnax and donate them to his farm.
Nice.
It's just fun. And also, you can get the Bugsnax and feed them to the villagers and transform them. And Daria, it's wacky itself. At first, when I was doing it, when they ate it, just a random limb transformed. It's like, okay, man, this is lame if it's just random. And then, like, not long after that, there's this nerdy person that was like, hey, here's this little thing to where if you point it at something, you can just change. When you feed someone Bugsnax, you can change any one of the limbs you want. It's like, yes, I can customize my grumples.
How long does it last? How long do they stay in that food?
Forever.
Can you change it to another one?
Yes. Okay. You could. I don't think you could change them back. I haven't seen anything to that.
They can't go back to normal. They never go back to normal.
So Dari, to give you a taste of some wacky shit you can do.
So everyone is just different foods now.
Yes, and it's gonna get crazy. So I'm trying to think. One example is this is a little orange creature thing. I fed it to 2 people and did 2 different things with them. One, I did their teeth, so they have orange teeth, they're actual orange slices. And one of them, I did her hair/head, so she has an orange slice mohawk.
Nice.
I also gave the mayor a pickle jar Bugsnax. Nice. And I did his head, so his hair is pickle in a jar.
Well, he just has a jar in his
head? He has pickles as his hair with a jar on it.
Oh, jeez. Nice.
And there's also a soda bug. I fed it to the mayor as well, and I chose his nose for the lulz, thinking, oh, he's going to get a soda can nose. Nope, he has a straw nose. So you get a bunch of crazy wacky shit.
I didn't even know you could do like different face appendages. I thought it was just all like...
I know you can change their actual body at some point, so I'm curious of that.
Everyone's just gonna be monstrosities.
Oh fuck yeah, man!
Hell yeah.
And I also like choosing appendages. Like at some point, once I have access to most of the Bugsnax and kind of see what everything does, like I can kind of customize them, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, fun stuff.
I'm excited. I think I want to play this with my sister because she like loves puzzle games.
And I mentioned before, like characters and writing and stuff are like just surprisingly good right now.
Yeah.
They go into some shit so far, and I heard it gets crazier from here. Again, I'm surprised that the characters and writing is what's a big part of what's drawing me in for this game.
I think they kept everything like super mysterious in the trailers and everything. So I think that's exactly what they wanted you to be like. Oh, I was not expecting this to be this detailed. Yeah. Seems like for puzzles people, it's a dream. I would probably get very frustrated playing this game because as soon as I got to something where I was like bashing my head for 30 minutes, I would get impatient.
At least I just far, I have trouble. Impatient. Like, there's this one guy. He's a sandwich dude, like a sandwich centipede thing that has multiple Bugsnax connected to each other, and to capture them, you have to separate them. I figured out I separated one of them, was able to grab one, but I'm trying to replicate what I did, because I need two of them, and I can't do it. I'm like, what is going on? Why can't I just separate this thing? Like, I'm sure there's like a simpler solution for it than what I'm trying to do, but I need to figure that out. I need to figure that shit out. But at least so far, I mean, I'm sure it will get crazier, especially since it is in the trailer, so I have no problem saying this. It's like the first part of the game. You see a giant pizza dragon. It's like, what the fuck? What do you do with that? How do you capture that shit? I think I heard a legendary Bugsnax dropped around.
Type shit.
Yeah.
Like, so wait, that is something I want to touch on. Like, how... Like, it's obviously there, but like, how much are they leaning into the Pokemon parallels and vibes in this? It's 100% undeniably.
There's a Snackopedia. It's like this little Pokedex thing and all that kind of stuff. Like, and I'm pretty sure that I'm 100% sure that the trophy that's like capture them all. Yeah. Like, obviously,
and you can have like 6 Bugsnax.
Yeah, I expect. Well, anyhow, I mentioned you can donate Bugsnax.
Yeah.
When you get to a certain amount, you expand the amount of Bugsnax you can carry up once.
But then also legendary Bugsnax. There's just lots of Pokemon.
There are a lot of
vibes.
Yeah, and what's kind of like I've seen Pokemon Snap vibes go around, and I believe it. I mean, not just from a picture taking perspective, because you don't really do that. I mean, you use your thing to kind of scan them, but just going around and walking around and seeing these Bugsnax in their environment, because I've went to a desert area, I went to the beach, and there's kind of Bugsnax that you would kind of more expect for there. It's like I think I like a salamander thing I saw in the desert for like 2 seconds that is a chili pepper. Nice. And it spit hot fire at you. Like, really, it set me on fire. I was
Can you die?
No, you can't. Okay. It made it a pain though. Like, I had to lure a Bugsnax, I had to catch her away because I kept on setting me and my trap on fire, and then I was running around and I set the other Bugsnax on fire. Nice. But I had to set it on fire because it was a little popcorn kettle that you had to make a pop before you could capture it. And a lot of cool stuff. No, this is a really good game so far.
And all their voice lines are so funny. Like, even when I was around, you just bunger, 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 bunger. And then the fry guy or whatever.
And also, it was also nice to add on to the characters and stuff. Not surprising considering that voice cast they announced. Voice acting is really good.
Yeah, they went all out.
Yeah.
They got that Sony money.
I mean, it's kind of like the way the character's voice and stuff is kind of like a cartoonish kind of way, obviously, with the way it is.
But jokes.
Yeah. But it's really damn good, and so far they have nailed the casting. Another
one, like, I'm really glad that it really seems like Sony cut them the check and then said, so wait, what are you doing? They're like, oh god, what did we just buy? It's like Sony did not Sony was just like, so whatever, just take the money. Take the money, do whatever the hell you want. We don't care, whatever.
What's also really nice about this, or just for the studio, I forget, I'm blanking on their names. Let me see.
I'll get it on.
Because the last game was Octodad, which was also Sony was pushing hard when the PS4 launched. This is kind of the same vein of like, this is a wacky thing. It's like, what the fuck is going on? But
young horses.
Yeah, that's right. Where it's just kind of wacky fun. And it's like, they were obviously on drugs when they came out with this.
Oh yeah.
But this is just such an improvement over Octodad in a lot of ways. Octodad was
way
a lot
more
of fun.
ambitious.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just
way more
next
ambitious,
step,
a lot more going on, especially where writing is concerned. And just, I guess, general gameplay, because Octodad's kind of like, look at this octopus, man. Have fun controlling him.
Yeah.
He's wacky shit, which is a good idea for a game. But.
Yes. I mean, yeah, but this is like just a much bigger step. This
Yeah,
is
I'm being honest. I mean, like, unless something goes down, like, I'm looking, like, I've seen review scores and generally, and like, I think they're like mid-70s. At least playing it so far, I got to see where it goes. I'm surprised they aren't higher.
Yeah, it's probably it's just not for everyone type of thing, but still, you should recognize that it's like. But I mean, I've seen like one of the complaints that I've seen about it are like minor enough complaints where it should not really distract from your overall enjoyment at all. I've seen people say that like towards the end, the backtracking thing gets a little it gets too much, and people are saying like, why doesn't this have a fast travel? People are saying like, it having a fast travel would not have like hurt the game at all, but it's but it doesn't, and I've seen like that got kind of tiring, and it was mostly quality of life stuff, like because this is a team that has never made a game like this of this scope before, so it kind of makes sense. But from the actual writing and puzzle design standpoints, it seems like they're nailing it.
Indeed.
And vibes. Very weird, but awesome vibes.
Yep. So hopefully next week I might finish it. I guess we'll see how much I can play between now and recording. Then final press on that. And also, I guess I can tease it right now. Next week should have some Hyrule Warriors impressions. That comes out Friday.
The train just don't stop.
Don't stop coming. We don't stop coming.
Good thing he beat the first two games we were super looking forward to in one day. So, yeah, Jeff's on pace. I'm sure we'll have Hyrule Warriors beating the weekend at least, and then we'll move.
I'm feeling pretty good about where I'll be when Cyberpunk comes out with these games.
But you're gonna be like you're gonna be done with everything, and then you're gonna be waiting for Cyberpunk like me. I mean, like, no, there's no worries whatsoever about Cyberpunk for you because you're a machine.
So time to replay NAC is what you're saying on the PS5.
It is indeed time to replay NAC because you've definitely played all the way through NAC.
Yep,
that's definitely
100 times
done. Yeah. Sorry, it's our Lord and Savior. That's just like worship for us every Sunday. You know.
Yep. And good news, everyone. There was a NAC cameo in Astro, or Easter egg in Astro. Let's go.
Spoilers.
The people needed to know. They need to have their worries. Like, people are losing sleep about that.
Yeah, as they should.
Yes,
but rest easy.
Well, Dari, we did an hour of PS5 talk.
Yeah, I think it was warranted.
Yep.
You know.
Now it's time to get into the news.
It's probably good that we did an hour because we don't have much else.
Yep.
It's next gen. Who needs to talk about things that are not next gen? In fact, we're going to keep talking about next gen.
Let's say, jingle, jingle, jangle, new stuff. So yeah, an Xbox also came out this past week. Or Xboxes, there are two of them. We don't have them. We don't have impressions. I'm sorry.
The mama and the baby.
Yeah. And, we don't even have new Microsoft games to talk about because they didn't release any.
No, not really.
Unless you count Yakuza, because it's apparently their game now.
They were really, really hoping to have a Halo at launch. That's pretty clear.
That thing needed to be delayed. But we got a little information from Xbox, just some general like sales stuff, and then some stuff from their CFO that just came out that, we might also briefly discuss on, and just kind of general stuff, we'll see where it goes. This was the most successful launch in Xbox history with record consoles sold at launch. I don't know if that's a surprising thing or not.
It seems surprising at first, but then when you stop and think about it, the 360 was like a longevity thing.
Yeah.
The 360 was something that just like built until mostly through like Call of Duty and Xbox Live and everything. And that's something that like it kind of makes sense that wasn't like at launch, and just there's more people who play video games right now than back then. So like even if this generation doesn't like reach the height of 1 or 360, which I think it will, it kind of makes sense that it would start off really strong.
Yeah. Series S highest percentage of new Xbox players in history. So the amount of people are buying Series S are the highest percentage of new Xbox people. Is my take on that.
How do they know that? Do they like survey people or something?
I guess it's just like new accounts or something
Okay.
associated to systems.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, it's the lowest entry point.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, that makes sense.
Game Pass, baby. Speaking of Game Pass, 70% of next-gen console sales had a new or existing Game Pass subscription.
That's the real stat. That's the real big winner to show that, like, yeah, even though I think pretty weak launch for Xbox as far as like Xbox v Sony for that whole thing of which one are you going to buy this holiday. I think the answer is pretty damn clear for the most part when it comes to the actual, like, you know, the games you can play for right now. But I think that stat is the key winner. That's like Xbox strategy is going to be a success going forward, even if they don't have stellar games that you want to play for like at least a year, which they probably won't, because, you know, a lot of these purchases they made are not going to really come to fruition for a long time. How dare
you? Psychonauts coming out within a year, you bastard.
We're talking money. We're talking
fuck you. I'm calling Tim Schafer.
I know, Jeff. If we're talking about like charm and love and how good it's going to be, no one's going to touch it, Jeff. It's going to be the tip top.
Goddamn right.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But the fact that they have that much of an attach rate for Xbox Game Pass, that's why if I was at Xbox, even though you're kind of getting trounced as far as the normal traditional metrics that you look at for your different console launch, I would look at that number and rest easy. Yeah.
And yeah, it makes sense, especially like if Series S had a high percentage of new Xbox players. Odds are good many of those are probably getting a Game Pass subscription anyway, wouldn't you? Yeah.
That's the easy thing to buy, especially if you're kind of gaming on a budget, and maybe if you haven't played a lot of the old, like the Xbox One generation games. You get this, you get Game Pass, and like you buy it for your kid. He has so many games.
I'm very curious, like as we go forward, because I expect, just because based on what we heard from GameStop employees as far as the split, like as we keep on going forward, what's the split going to be between Series X and S as far as how many people own them, like how many are sold? X is going to be the clear winner this holiday season.
And it's going to give it to you.
Yes, it's definitely going to give it to me. Because, you know, I don't know if you remember when pre-orders and stuff were happening, we, like Warrior 64 and those kind of accounts were getting news from like GameStop employees that they had like double the amount of X's as S's, which makes sense during this time because the hardcore are going to be the ones buying consoles right now, and they're probably going to get the X. Makes sense.
And you actually can't even buy it like in stores right now, right?
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see as we go forward if the S will surpass the X at some point. I think so. I think Phil Spencer said recently in an interview, I believe that he believes that will be the case. He pretty much said what I just said.
Especially when it comes to like hardware where you're talking about several hundreds of dollars.
Yep.
I think that's always the case. Like the cheaper one is always going to sell more, pretty much.
Well, and as we talked about, the S is a good like second console. Like people who have a PS5 will probably not. There could be many of them that would probably not get a Series X or whatever the Xbox is. But with the S and Game Pass, like, you know, they're like, okay, I can do this and just have access to all that stuff. And I mean, even, you know, discounting, you know, taking out the Xbox Game Studio games from the equation for Game Pass, there's still all that third-party shit that's there.
Yeah.
I mean, EA Play is now on it, and they announced literally the day before Jedi Fallen Order is now fully on EA Play. So you could play that on your laptop right now if you wanted to.
I would love for them to release the stats of like what the Jedi Fallen Order player base, like how much is that going up now, like after this.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna bring this up because I don't have my NPD things. Jedi Fallen Order in the last 12 months, the second highest selling game in the US.
Wow.
Only behind Call of Duty.
Wow.
I will say though, you might think it's Animal Crossing. It probably still is Animal Crossing because NPD's digital does not count.
Yeah. Especially this year.
Yeah. So, but still, that's damn good for that game.
Even if it's 3 or 4.
Hey, EA, single player games sell.
Even janky busted ones.
Yes.
That's crazy. That's very big. But it's like I do think there's a chance that there's going to be a decently big swath of gamers who will buy the gamers who will buy the PS5 because it's just kind of, you have to buy the PS5 at this point. If you
gotta
really
play
care
Demon
about
Souls,
games.
which I feel wrong. I mean, I play in these great kind of PlayStation exclusives in quotation marks. I mean, mainly because of Bugsnax, quotation mark, but. And then I've been playing the big one in Demon Souls.
But it's just like, you're going to buy a PS5 because there's going to be something. Whether it's Souls, whether it's Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy in general, or whatever, 16 might also be exclusive. Whether it's that,
Spider-Man.
whether it's God of War, whether it's Spider-Man, Last of Us, there's going to be something that
Bugsnax.
that you just, Bugsnax. I mean, let's be real. That's the real reason. There's going to be something that you have to buy a PS5 for. So there's going to be I think there's going to be there could be a decent sized group of people who buys a PS5, but they don't have a PC. They buy a PS5 and they also buy an Xbox Series S with Game Pass, and they basically play every non-exclusive Sony game through Game Pass. They basically just oh cool, all the Elder Scrolls games, all this or whatever, they just steady play a bunch of Xbox Game Pass games, and then when the big PS5 game comes out, they buy that. I think there's a decent, that's one of the most cost effective if you're not going to get a PC. In the long run, cost effective. If you just rely on Game Pass for your steady, I'm playing games all the time.
That's the point when you mentioned Elder Scrolls, that made me think about it. Well, let's say you're a big Bethesda dork and you are someone who buys a lot of Bethesda games throughout the generation. Obviously you got to pay continuously for Game Pass, but let's say as far as the console goes, that's 5 Bethesda games potentially over the generation to pay for the console. Like if you usually buy those day one.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a decent amount of people. I started a new job, so I'm seeing new people. Wow, I'm meeting new people, and I've vaguely talked about video games to some of these normies out there. Jeff, I'm infiltrating. I'm seeing what life's like at the inside. But I do honestly, I'm joking around, but it is kind of a barometer to see how people who are very casually into gaming, because we only see the people who are hardcore into it. And it's we brought up obviously there's 2 guys in particular that I talked to. One is a little more into video games like me. He talks about the Souls games and all this other one. The other one is a little more casual, and obviously he talks about Call of Duty and stuff like that, because that's just what most people play. But then when I brought up RPGs, his immediate and pretty much only go-to was Elder Scrolls and Fallout. Yeah. And there are a lot of those. Bethesda might have fallen down some, but I mean, Elder Scrolls and Fallout are still the 2 biggest RPG names on the planet pretty much at this point. And it's that's a big deal. Just the fact that will be on Game Pass, even if it's not exclusive, is going to be a very big deal. Honestly, the fact that Skyrim will probably be on Game Pass very soon if it's not already. The amount of people, I bet the amount of people who are still actively right now playing Skyrim will probably blow your mind.
You know what? This is a good transition point. Let's talk about some Bethesda shit. This is from Xbox's chief financial officer, Tim Stewart. He's explaining the main aim of Bethesda's acquisition. Quote, and it's going to be jumping around a little bit, I think, in the little interview article thing. What we'll do in the long run is we don't have intentions of just pulling all of Bethesda content out of Sony or Nintendo or otherwise. But what we want is we want that content in the long run to be either first or better or best, or pick your... Well, that's weird. To be either first or better or best, or pick differentiated experiences on our platform. We will want Bethesda content to show up the best as on our platforms. That's not a point about being exclusive. That's not a point about we're being adjusting time or content or room. I'm literally reading this. It's very confusing.
Some broken English.
But if you think about something like Game Pass, if it shows up best in Game Pass, that's what we want to see, and we want to drive our Game Pass subscriber base through that Bethesda pipeline. So again, I'm not announcing pulling content from platforms one way or the other, but I suspect you'll continue to see us shift towards a first or better or best approach on our platforms. Not surprising, this kind of goes hand in hand with what they've kind of been saying, but I guess kind of more focusing on that they're kind of saying that they're not pulling stuff. I still think they might pull some stuff. Again, I don't think they're going to let every single Bethesda thing at the very least. I think I kind of go back and forth from like if I think
do too.
Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be exclusive or not.
I still, honest to God, think they might not know.
Yeah.
I still think that might be something that they're like wondering either way. But I think the way that I think probably the central way they want to play this is, for the most part, they're going to allow everything to go everywhere. But I think their plan is such a high percentage of their player base is going to be on Xbox Game Pass.
Or in Game Pass on PC.
Or Game Pass on PC, yeah. Like on Game Pass in general, that it's like, even if it's coming on Sony, it's like, yeah, sure, you could go buy that for $60, or you're already on this subscription service, so why the hell would you do that?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's going to kind of be the play, is that like, yeah, it's going to be offered everywhere, but it's like, why don't you just come pay $10, $15 a month and get that plus anything else you ever want.
Man, I'm going to start paying for Game Pass soon. I'm not looking forward to it because that's more money. Because I've had a subscription for like over 2 years that I just paid for.
Oh, the one-time
yeah, like a one-time thing that I've been going off of for like over 2 years.
Nice, yeah.
So I haven't paid for Game Pass in 2 years.
I think mine was on a big thing. Like, I probably am going to get, whenever, if it comes up for renew, I probably won't renew it or whatever.
Right
I'll
away.
get off of it because I'm honestly not playing it enough right now to justify it. But it'll probably be something that I would dip back in the future if I want to do. But, you know. Yeah.
Okay. Also, before we move on from Xbox, there's also something interesting. Mentioning about pricing, because we know Sony's like, yo, you want that Demon Souls? Pay me $70. To kind of mention that as well. I think we're not making specific announcements on first-party pricing yet, so we'll do that sort of due time. Blah, blah. Prices have not gone up in for a couple generations now, so it's not unheard of to see things like this going on. And to the point earlier, content creation costs go up, and these publishers and content creators, including ourselves, want to make sure you're driving the right gross margin profiles, the right earnings profiles of what it takes to build these new, awesome, amazing games. You want to make sure you have a good top line to support that. So I can see Microsoft definitely going up, especially everyone else does, because that's just the way things work, you know. Yeah. Also, they might be like, well, a lot of people are playing on Game Pass anyway, so we can bump this up a little bit. And it might be more incentive for people to get Game Pass. It's like, oh, now these games cost more money. Okay.
We're actually going to charge $90.
Take that, Sony.
Come on, Game Pass. You don't want to spend this $90. Yeah.
Remember Destruction All-Stars was about to come out, like be out now for $70?
Yep, they noped out that real fast. Yeah, I think that quote is just like everything Microsoft's and every company does, but they're doing at this point, which is like they're leaving every single option open. They're basically not committing to anything, which, you know, whatever. That's fine.
Ready for some NPDs?
I'm ready for some impetus.
Impetus. Okay, we got some October impetus. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Number 1, FIFA 21. The first time a FIFA franchise release has launched at number 1 in the U.S. market. That's kind of surprising with how well it's sold, but I guess it always comes out like with Call of Duty.
I was about to say, it always comes out in like the most high traffic time. And, you know, us fucking nerds will go out and like buy the Assassin's Creed or whatever the hell, like, in like crazy that first launch month, and then it'll peter out some, whereas FIFA is eternal and it'll just sell forever.
Number 2, Madden NFL 21. Number 3, Watch Dogs Legion. Despite having only 3 days of sales tracking in the month. Yeah.
Surprising, honestly. Honestly, a little surprised. I kind of expected Watch Dogs, and I guess it still could ultimately not sell well, but that's a good start.
Probably not a lot of new games on here.
Yeah, that's what I'm a little surprised because this is usually a more high traffic time.
I guess most of it's in November.
I guess this has been a light October, which I guess makes sense because consoles are about to launch.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Number 4, NHL 21. Launch month dollar sales were the highest for an NHL release since the September 2015 launch of NHL 16 Derby. Did you know that?
You know me.
Yeah.
I'm NHL fan number 1. Pittsburgh Penguins. I literally don't think I can name another NHL team. I literally don't think I could. I know one of them's the Senators, which I just think is really funny, but I don't know where they're from.
The Mitch McConnells. Number 5, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. Doesn't really have any other things about that, but nice little toy thing.
Yeah, I think this is a light month.
Yeah. I think what also helps Mario Kart is I think it's like almost double the price of these games, and this is revenue based, like dollar based.
Yeah,
it's $100, and it comes with the little car. It's a very cool thing, and people seem to enjoy it.
It's got to be a hot Christmas item.
Yeah,
I think.
Number 6, Super Mario 3D All Stars.
Of course.
No digital. Number 7, Animal Crossing New Horizons. No digital.
Also, of course.
Number 8, actually going up a spot, Star Wars Squadrons.
I have seen surprisingly little talk about the game, but I know people like it a lot. But yeah. Okay.
Number 9, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Is this the end of Call of Duty?
Only 9.
I mean, who are we kidding? The new one's going to be... The new one's going to be
number 1. Pencil it in. I don't know what the hell else would be.
Number 10, also going up a spot. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see like exact number for this and how they line up with Insane Trilogy more than...
Yeah, it has to be...
The fact that it's pretty much only out for like a day and the stuff is kind of splitting between these is kind of like... It doesn't give us the full picture.
Yeah.
Per se.
It feels like less. I feel like when Insane Trilogy came out, everyone was like losing their damn minds, but maybe it's just quietly selling a lot. Who knows?
I won't read out all of these. I'll just do what I guess I believe to be highlights. NBA 2K21 dropped down from 5 to 13. I think that's a decent drop for an NBA 2K game. It is physical only though, which I guess probably changes a good thing.
Yeah,
2K is being weird now. Avengers dropped from 1 to 14.
Yep.
I think I saw something on Steam. Like 97% of his player base has already stopped playing.
God damn. This really is Anthem Part 2.
Well, and I don't have it on here, unfortunately. There's a Square Enix businessy stuff going out there. I think they actually did pretty well for this fiscal year on the back of Final Fantasy VII more than anything. But they lost a lot on Adventures.
Yeah, when they're like 65 million or something.
Something like that. Like it's insane. Like this game did not do well for them, and I just don't see them building it back up. As we let's talk. We don't have to go deep. We kind of talked about it before, but
we kind of had a whole podcast episode main topic about kind of this.
Let's see. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 dropped from 4 to 18. Super Mario Party actually went up a spot from 20 to 19.
I understand why people are buying it. We were duped into it too because you see it's a Mario Party on the Switch. Hell yes.
Yeah. So let's get to that top 10 best-selling games of the year.
There's only one game I care about placement, and I just want it to stay.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare
that's
still
the
number 1.
Hell yeah.
Animal Crossing still number 2. Madden jumped from 4 to 3, switching places with Last of Us Part 2, which is now number 4.
Yeah.
I don't think that's surprising at all. Ghost of Tsushima number 5, which actually I'll just bring it up here because why not? Ghost of Tsushima has sold 5 million copies since July. Yeah,
that's pretty good. I wonder where Last of Us is. Like I could absolutely see Ghost top passing Last of Us at some point here.
Maybe. Trying to think. Also. Adding on to that number, Ghost of Tsushima best-selling new IP from Sony in the PS4 era. No, I don't think that's too surprising.
Which I know it was one of those like you have to put a bunch of qualifiers. Basically, what they're saying is that
it beat Horizon.
It beat Horizon and Days Gone. That's all that really means. Which is good. Yeah. But there's also more PS4s in the wild than when those two games came out.
Yeah.
But regardless, cool.
Yeah, I said best selling, fastest selling is the more accurate term. Number 6, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
There it is. There's the baby.
Darby, prepare for that potential to be knocked off next month.
It's going to plummet in a minute here.
Number 7, Marvel's Avengers. I mean, at least Final Fantasy's still beating that.
Yep. Let's hold on strong. Come on.
Jumping from 10 to 8, Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Going up some. Jumping from 11 to 9, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Can't Stop, Won't Stop. You know what I'm saying? Dropping from 8 to 10, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Yeah, anime's gonna take a hit, man. Between
Anime's dead.
587 and Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is about to get yeeted off of that top 10.
Yep. Let's see. Okay, so let's talk about that hardware. Just mainly focus on the Switch. It was the best selling console, no surprise. I'm curious to see how it stacks up.
It should be a surprise. This has been like the worst Nintendo year since some year.
Yeah, but new console's about to come out.
U.
So what reason are people buying Xbox and PlayStation? I'm curious to see next month.
But they're buying new Xbox and PlayStations.
Wait, what?
But they're like, there's new Xboxes and PlayStations.
No, I'm saying, like, I'm curious to see how it could, like, if it wins next month.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a surprise that it wins in October, right before the consoles come out.
Right, but it's not just that they won. Wasn't it like the most?
Well, I'm gonna get into that.
Okay, sorry. To be honest, I didn't listen to what you actually said. I just thought that's what you said.
Fuck you. Yeah. Nintendo Switch set a new U.S. October hardware dollar sales record, besting the previous high set by Nintendo Wii in October 2008. And Switch has been the best-selling hardware platform in the U.S. for 23 consecutive months. A new record.
Sorry, that is what I'm referring to where I'm like, that's sad to me. It's like a little sad because Nintendo has done literally nothing to earn that this year.
I mean, I guess the way to look at it is, I mean, it's less of what they're doing and more of what they've already done.
I know, but it's just, I want Nintendo to be a better company than they are sometimes, and it's just not going to happen because they have no financial reason to be a better company than they are.
Well, Darby, a very rare thing happened as far as NPD goes. We got solid numbers for these Switch sales.
Oh.
So, yep, I can't remember where this came from, but it's from NPD, and it's very least.
Matt Piscatella payoff.
Yep. 735,000 Switches were sold in October in the U.S. alone. That is a lot.
It's almost a million in 1 month.
Yep. Yeah, second highest October besides the Wii in 2008, which was, I think, a little over 800,000.
Yeah, the Switch has not slowed down at all, even though
it's going up.
even though the games have slowed to an absolute crawl. So yeah, the Switch is it's gonna be one of the best selling consoles of all time, easy, as time goes on.
Yep.
Easy.
Hyrule Warriors this week, baby.
Hopefully it doesn't just all collapse like the Wii did. I'm getting very salty about Nintendo. I think I'm probably gonna have to spend fucking $70 or $80 or whatever on a new Joy-Con set because my Joy-Cons drift is just getting absurd, and I don't know. It's just lots of things that they kind of bug me with. But oh well. Breath of the Wild 2 will cure all the sins.
Where's Odyssey 2 though?
That would also cure the sins. Okay,
well, that's all for NPDs. I'm not even going to do a time code for this. In other news, we got a Deathloop date.
Speed run this other news.
I mean, we already did one of them, so other news is literally only this. Deathloop is now coming May 21st.
It's a little further away than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I agree. And they announced that it is going to be on PlayStation and PC. I think they've been a little coy about the PC thing, if I'm not mistaken. It's out there, and I think they might have officially confirmed as well it's a year exclusivity for the console, like before it goes on Xbox again, which is so fucking weird considering it's like by then it could like officially be a Microsoft game.
Yeah. But you'll have to wait like a year and a half from now to play it on Xbox. Yep. Even though they already pretty much bought Bethesda now.
What I'm just hoping for our sake is that, that it'll just be on Game Pass on PC.
Yeah, this is not a game I was going to buy full price, but, like maybe for Game Pass, I'd check it out or whatever.
Yeah, just jump.
At least I don't think so right now. Maybe when we get to Deathloop, it'll be like, no, you got to buy this shit.
I just feel good that the fact the one I'm more excited about out of the two Bethesda games we've been seeing around Ghostwire Tokyo is probably definitely got to be on Game Pass right away. Hopefully. I don't know.
Oh, and wait, no. Ghostwire is also PlayStation exclusive, isn't it?
Well, okay, Game Pass on PC, hopefully. I mean...
okay, yeah. Sorry.
Deathloop might have a weird thing because they're not technically Microsoft yet.
Yeah.
But Ghostwire, I think, will be up. Well, also, I don't know. Maybe this clause has a weird thing with Game Pass written in, like, nope, Game Pass on PC. I don't know. This shit's weird. This is a weird thing.
So it's completely uncharted waters.
Yep. And I wish they could just confirm that it's coming to Game Pass, but I don't think they legally can.
No, probably not. Not until that ink dries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think they can say general things like the CFO did, but that might be a little too specific.
Probably. Well, Jeff, that was our first next gen episode of the Nerds at Large podcast. No going back now.
Yep.
The PS4 is last gen. It's not really next gen anymore. It's current gen.
It's current gen, baby.
Current gen.
We're in the new age.
Yeah, but we'll still be calling this next gen like a year from now, probably, because that's just how we do. That's how we roll in the gaming industry.
Yep. I can't wait to play the next great next gen game, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity.
There we go, baby.
Let's go. Which I think we're streaming, maybe.
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah, again, I don't want to hold you up in getting through the story if streaming ends up holding you up too much, but theoretically I am down. It's just if you are like itching to play and can't wait for it, I understand.
We can at least do the first little bit and see how it goes.
Yeah, and we can give people a little taste of it. But maybe Sackboy might be something that we can more just play and stream, and you probably wouldn't be too upset about that. So.
Sackboy.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys so much. Once again, make sure you go subscribe to Respawn Aim Fire on all your podcast services and hear Mr. Jeffrey Mayonnaise talk all about the PS5 and probably
cool
Miles
dudes.
Morales and Astro's Playroom and stuff. I imagine y'all are going to be diving into the game.
Yeah, I guess also as far as we're teasing Respawn Aim Fire stuff, I know they are planning on doing Spoilercast for at least some of these games. Miles Morales, I assume, is a guarantee. If I'm done with that, I'm hoping if time works out for me to join them, if they'll have me.
Hell yeah.
And if I don't join them, go listen to it anyway.
Yep. Yeah, I guess I'll listen to that in a month or so.
And then when that happens, we'll have our own Spoilercast.
Yeah, we'll do it. All right, cool. So go do that.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Bye.